Chapter 1 Shit System. Same school. Kurohama Middle High wasn't special. It was just a place where teenagers were stored during the day, so adults didn't have to deal with them. That was the honest version. The official version involved education and growth, which was just branding for sitting in chairs and pretending your future wasn't already being pre-sold to you. Jin sat in the back because nobody wanted him anywhere else. That worked fine. He didn't want to be anywhere else either. Teacher was going on about math like it was a moral lesson instead of just numbers people invented to feel in control. Jin stopped listening after 5 minutes. He stared at the clock. Tick, tick, same fake rhythm, same fake day. Jin, he raised his hand halfway. Not respect, not rebellion, just acknowledgement that his name had been used. Some kid near the front snickered. Probably nothing original. Nothing here ever was. Daiki showed up late. Same entrance, same timing. Same attitude like rules were suggestions meant for other people. White shirt too clean, shoes too clean. Like he was trying to cosplay responsible citizen and doing a bad job. Again? The teacher said. Daiki shrugged. Traffic. There is no traffic here. The town isn't even big enough to justify the lie. Nobody called him out. Nobody ever does. Calling people out requires energy, and nobody here is paid for that kind of labor. Daiki sat down, looked at Jin for half a second. Jin noticed, didn't react, then reacted internally and immediately denied it mattered. Then there was Aoi. She transferred in 2 weeks ago and instantly broke the room's usual pattern of everyone trying not to exist too loudly. Aoi sat near the window, deep dark skin like polished night glass. Not exotic, not romantic, just noticeable in a way that made people shut up for half a second when she walked in. She didn't smile much. She didn't try to fit in either, which made her the only honest thing in the building. Some kid whispered, "Who's that?" Another said, "Don't know. Foreign, maybe." Aoi heard them, didn't react. That was her thing. She acted like stupidity was background noise she didn't have time to process. Jin liked that. He didn't say it out loud. He wasn't suicidal. Lunch break. Consume and shut up. Everyone scattered like insects when the bell hit. Lunch was just capitalism for kids. Overpriced trash food and social ranking disguised as conversation. Jin stayed inside. Daiki went outside. Aoi stayed in the window seat, watching the courtyard like she was analyzing something broken. Outside, kids yelled, laughed too loud, recorded nothing important, lived like everything was content. Jin leaned against the window frame. Daiki walked through the courtyard like it was optional scenery. Some kid bumped him. "Watch it!" Daiki didn't even look at him. Kid got annoyed. Rich bastard. Daiki wasn't rich. He just looked like he didn't need anyone's permission to exist. That was worse. A crow landed on the fence, stayed too still. One kid pointed. "That thing is weird as hell." Then it lifted straight up. No wings, no effort, just gone. Some kid laughed like it was a joke. Nobody actually laughed. They just needed a sound to cover the fact that something didn't make sense. Aoi watched it from the window. No reaction. Just eyes tracking it, like she was checking whether reality was still behaving. Jin glanced at her. "Did you see that?" he asked. "Yeah." "Cool, so I'm not insane." "Don't celebrate yet." That was it. No drama. No panic. Just two people agreeing something was off and refusing to pretend otherwise. After school, bad lighting energy. Daiki was waiting in the hallway after class. Not hiding, just lingering like he belonged to the building more than the schedule. Jin showed up. Aoi followed a minute later. The three of them didn't coordinate it. That was the annoying part. It just happened. "You saw it too, right?" "Yeah, obviously." Pause. "So what? We just agree reality's acting drunk now? Something's wrong with how people are noticing things. People don't notice things. That's kind of the whole system." I leaned against the wall. "They notice. They just ignore it if it's inconvenient." That landed. Because it was accurate. The intercom clicked on. Static. Then the principal's voice. "Students are to remain in designated areas due to a situation. Do not panic." Jin laughed out loud. "A situation," he said. "That's what adults call it when they don't understand their own job. They never understand it. They understand enough to keep getting paid." Silence. That one was too real to joke about. The hallway lights flickered. Not dramatic, just wrong enough to notice. Daiki looked down the corridor. Jin followed his gaze. Aoi didn't move her head. Just eyes. At the end of the hall, a door was open. Nobody had opened it. That door was locked this morning. Yeah, so it wasn't locked for long. That's comforting. No, it isn't. I was being sarcastic, man. Badly. They didn't move right away. Not fear, more like calibration. When reality stops matching routine, people hesitate to see what breaks first. Daiki, we shouldn't all be here. Why? You think it's gonna choose one of us? It already did. That's not helpful. I'm not here to help. Fair, the lights shut off. Not cinematic. Just gone. Cool. Love budget horror school. Shut up. Stay where you are. Why? Because if you move wrong, you'll look stupid. That's already my brand. At the end of the hall, the open door stayed open. Something about it felt like a mistake nobody wanted to own. Jin took one step forward anyway. Daiki didn't stop him. Aoi said nothing, because sometimes people need to learn what happens when they stop listening. From somewhere deeper in the hallway, something shifted. Not seen. Just felt. Like the building had decided it was done pretending everything was normal. End of chapter 2. Teacher problem. Next day, nobody acted normal. Not even the people pretending to. That was the giveaway. Mr. Haneda came in early. Too early. Like he was trying to reset control by arriving before the students could emotionally wake up. He smiled too much. That's always a bad sign. Phones away, he said. Nobody moved fast. That was new. Jin noticed. Daiki noticed. Aoi already had. Haneda started talking about discipline again. Respect. Rules. Future. Same recycled speech schools use when they run out of anything real to say. Jin raised his hand. Yes? Why do you talk like we're all already disappointing you? A couple kids laughed. Not nervously this time. Haneda paused. That pause mattered because it meant the script broke for half a second. Daiki stood up. Did you actually pick this job because you kids listening to you? That hit the room. Jin looked at him like, damn, okay. Sit down. Answer first. Aoi didn't speak yet, but she was watching like she was ready to. Haneda tried authority voice, threats, detention, consequences, but nobody flinched like before. Because once people see authority fail once, it never comes back the same. You realize nobody's scared of you, right? You should be. Based on what? Your vibe? Laughter. Too loud. Too easy. That's when Haneda knew he was losing it. Not loud. Just clean. You don't control anything in here. You just repeat rules people already ignored. That one ended it. Not the shouting, not the rebellion, that sentence, because it was true without emotion. And truth like that is hard to fight. Haneda left the room. No speech, no recovery, just gone. That was the moment everything shifted. Not chaos, just absence of belief. After class, the three of them stood outside. So what now? He's going to report us. Probably. Cool. Love paperwork wars. Pause. Something's still wrong. Yeah. Like what? Aoi looked down the hallway. Like we're not the first group this has happened to. Silence. That's not comforting either. Good. Down the hall, the same door was open again, but this time there was a phone left on the floor outside it. Recording. Still on. Screen glowing, showing nothing but the hallway from an angle none of them recognized. Chapter 3. Things that don't lie. Nobody talked about the phone on the floor. That was the rule now. If something didn't come with an explanation that benefited adults, it got ignored until it stopped existing socially. School went on anyway. That was its whole trick. Act normal long enough and reality starts doubting itself. Jin skipped class after lunch. Daiki did too. Aoi didn't skip anything. She just left when she felt like it, and nobody had figured out how to stop that yet. They ended up near the edge of town where buildings stopped pretending to matter. There was a drainage path behind an old construction lot. Water barely moved through it. Something about it felt honest. No branding, no performance, just gravity doing its job. Aoi crouched near the water. A heron stood perfectly still in the shallows. That bird looks like it's judging us. It is. Daiki, why do animals always seem calmer than people? Because they're not stuck in meetings and group chats. Aoi didn't smile, but her eyes stayed on the bird longer than they stayed on anything human all day. That thing doesn't pretend, she said. Neither do we. You're joking. Yeah, mostly. The heron struck the water. Fast, clean, no hesitation. Fish gone, no drama, no apology. See that? Yeah, no overthinking, no ego, just done. Dike, humans would have made a speech about it first, or filmed it, or named it a brand. That one landed because it was too accurate to argue with. They sat there longer than they meant to. A stray cat appeared from under broken concrete. It didn't approach them, just observed, then sat down like it owned the space better than any of them did. That cat looks like it pays rent better than we do. Probably does. It doesn't waste energy being embarrassed. I kind of respect it. Good. Start learning from things that don't talk. Back in town later, people were loud again. Phones out. Arguments about nothing. Someone crying over something that would be forgotten tomorrow. Normal human noise. Jen looked at it and said, "It's weird how animals just exist and humans feel like they need a performance for every second. Because humans think they're the main thing. They're not. Yeah, I'm starting to notice that." That night, Jen couldn't sleep. Not because of fear, because his brain kept replaying the heron. No hesitation, no ego, just action and done. He thought about Haneda too. All ego, no clarity, just noise pretending to be importance. Two different kinds of life, only one felt stable. Chapter 4, Quiet Things Win. School the next day felt thinner, like everyone was speaking slightly less loudly than usual without agreeing to it. Haneda was still there, still trying, but it wasn't sticking anymore. When he talked, people didn't respond emotionally. They just waited for him to finish, like weather. Jin, Daiki, and Aoi met again after class. This time they didn't talk immediately. They went to the park near the river. Less people there. More space for things that didn't need permission. A group of sparrows clustered near spilled bread. They don't care who dropped it, they just take it. No arguments, no moral commentary. No hierarchy unless they're fighting over it. Honestly, better system than school. Lower expectations, better outcomes. A dog wandered in from somewhere off leash. Old, slow, it didn't rush, it didn't check phones. It just moved through the space like it belonged to itself. Aoi watched it carefully. That dog looks tired. No, it looks finished. That's depressing. It's peaceful. We should be more like that dog. You already are. You just add stress for no reason. That's fair. The dog stopped near them, looked at each of them briefly. No judgment, just recognition of presence. Then kept walking. No drama, no story, just continuation. Jin exhaled. Animals don't lie, he said. They also don't pretend they're confused when they're actually just selfish. Humans are impressive at that. Yeah, we're like the only species that builds entire systems to avoid admitting what we want. And then call it civilization. That one hung there longer than the others. Nobody tried to fix it, because it didn't need fixing. Later, as they left the park, Aoi stopped, looked back at the river. A crane stood alone on the far side, still, unbothered. What? Nothing. Pause. Just noticing what doesn't lie. Behind them, the city kept going. Noise, ads, people arguing over things they would forget in a week. But none of it felt important anymore. Not the same way. Not after the animals made it obvious how much of it was just noise pretending to matter. End of chapter 4.